All right, welcome to the 49th episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. I'm your host, Brother Tamani M. Wandani. I'm the direct revolutionary product of one Cardinal and Bayou Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg, African named Jeramogi, Baby Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation Movement. My co-host, the National Director of Political Strategy and Implementation for the Black Gold Nation Movement, and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, AKA The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
I am doing Irie, ready for this week to weekend to kick in. I have picked up my art piece.
That's right.
Been working on this project for 22 years, so it's an exciting week.
Excellent. And Brother Craig, I was thinking, man, this is our 49th episode. The next one is the 50th. Maybe we should highlight some of your accomplishments, things that you've that are culminating in all of your 25 plus years of work. So that might be something to think about. Our 50th episode, should be something special.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
All right. So before we get into tonight's show, which is going to be a doozy, give me a minute to tell you about the Black Gold Nation Movement. Our ultimate goal is trying to get our people in a position by which we can own and control the space where we live, because we've come to the conclusion, history has proven, that when we allow other people to control our space, we lose, period. When we allow other people to control any aspect of that space, any systems within the space where we live, when other people control it, we always find ourselves on the bottom. It doesn't matter if it's the educational system, the economic system, the security system, the political system, the agricultural system. It does not matter. When other people control it, we find ourselves on the bottom, completely locked out, or completely on the losing end. So since we no longer want to lose, since we no longer want to be on the bottom, we believe that we need to be in control of everything. And it's not that we haven't been in control of everything before. And when we are in control of everything, or the majority of the things, not only do we do just fine, but we outperform other people. So Brother Craig and I are not just here to entertain you. We're trying to get you to do something. We want to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Every single thing we do, every single thing we say is an attempt to bring our people together so we can find the right people who are ready, willing, and able to get on board with the movement that's about building power for our people, because we understand at the end of the day, what happens to us happens because we do not have the power to stop it, which is why we absolutely must have power on multiple levels, multiple spheres, in multiple arenas. So before we get into, let me say tonight's episode title is The Fall and Destruction of Liberation Entertainers. The Fall and Destruction of Liberation Entertainers. So before we get into tonight's show, I want to acknowledge the passing of one of our greatest African historians and educators, Dr. Runoko Rashidi has passed, as well as acknowledging that it is Marcus Garvey Month, who was, of course, one of our greatest Pan-African leaders since we've been here in North America. So big shout out to Dr. Runoko, and a big shout out to our brother, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So with that, the Fall and Destruction of Liberation Entertainers, we're going to start tonight's show with a brief video news clip, which highlights the biggest one in the news today. So give me a quick second to share my screen, and we're gonna get into this, and then we'll get on with the show.
Normally garners attention for his online posts, but now the social media influencer, motivational speaker, is making headlines for the wrong reason. NBC6 reporter Kim Nguyen is live in Miami Beach tonight with more on the arrest of the man known as Brother Polight. Kim.
Yeah, well, Jawan, the suspect surrendered here at the Miami Beach Police Department earlier this week. Police charged him with sexual battery of a 14-year-old girl. We did speak with his lawyer earlier tonight, who says that these charges are false. This is the mugshot of 37-year-old Michael Nowak Jr., also known as Brother Polight, to his more than 300,000 Instagram followers. Miami Beach police arrested Nowak this week for alleged sexual battery of a 14-year-old girl in a hotel room in February. Police say the alleged victim was the daughter of a woman he was romantically linked to. Defense attorney David Terrace says his client is innocent.
Once the evidence is produced, that he is going to be exonerated. So yeah, not guilty, nothing else.
According to the police report, Nowak, a motivational speaker and author who lives in LA, asked the woman if he could take her daughter to an after party at a club in Miami. The report states Nowak took the teen to his hotel after seeing that the club was closed. Police say the suspect gave the teen alcohol and started dancing and touching the teen inappropriately, groping her breast, inner thighs, and buttocks. It goes on to say Nowak tried to force the teen to perform oral sex on him. The teen allegedly passed out and woke up to Nowak trying to make her throw up.
These are serious allegations, but in any situation, there is always motive. There is always a lot behind the scenes that the public is not going to be able to see.
The report states that the girl's mother found her intoxicated and possibly on drugs, with severe swelling on her mouth and lips. It later states Nowak told the mother not to call police because it would ruin his career. Nowak was served with a DNA warrant in June and surrendered to police on Monday. Terrace says the police report is only an allegation. And Nowak claims to have written more than 90 books. In an interview, he also claims to have several wives. For now, we're reporting live in Miami Beach. Kim Nguyen, NBC6 News.
All right, so that is the news clip leading into tonight's show about Liberation Entertainer. So the fall and destruction of Liberation Entertainer. So we're gonna start there. That's gonna be our first question with the title. What is, Brother Craig, a Liberation Entertainer?
So, you know, I've been here in Shreveport doing grassroots empowerment work now for 26 years. And over the years, I have learned about those 6 factions of African descendants. And doing this work, you run across a variety of people who claim to want to do work in the grassroots community, perpetrate, pretend. And I created a term called romantic revolutionary. They romanticize about revolution and they talk all of the jive. They have the rhetoric. They may look like, you know, they may wear the dashikis, may wear the colors, but there's nothing that they really do that's about empowerment. There's nothing they really do that's about revolution in terms of transforming the system, the philosophy, the system, and the game that we're in. And so this was a term that I went with for years. And one night I was listening to Dr. John Henry Clark. And Dr. John Henry Clark was doing a lecture on Minister Farrakhan and Malcolm, and the hatred that had developed for Malcolm by Farrakhan and others after Malcolm went public on the indiscretions of Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
And Dr. John Henry Clark, man, said the term that Farrakhan is nothing but a liberation entertainer. Mm. And I said, wow, that's a better term than romantic revolutionary, because the concept first, if we look at the concept of entertainer, this is an entity who is distracting people away from the things that they need to be focused on to to perceptively give them reprieve from those things that they're focused on. And so now when you attach liberation to it, what Dr. John Henry Clarke is talking about is distracting you away, your attention away from the focus of liberation while pretending to give you liberation.
That's right.
Or pretending to advocate for liberation. It is so clever. So that's how he referred to Minister Farrakhan. So now when you look at other examples of that, now you get Jesse Jackson, you get Al Sharpton. These are your national liberation entertainers. And now you can go to any city in America, West Coast, East Coast, South, North, Midwest, and you'll find these cats, right? And now through social media, they're really out there. They're really out there because most of these individuals figured out as, years ago, I'm talking about decades ago, that our people are so blind and so ignorant about how any of this works that if you can romanticize their ear and you can give them an image to embrace, it's really just about talking.
Yep.
And once they embrace the rhetoric that you're bringing forth, now you're entertaining them about things that are serious topics.
Yep.
But you're diverting them away from the topic, and it's all a clever game. So that's what a liberation entertainer actually is.
Cool. And Brother Mike adds to all talk, no work. For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. So what are the dangers, Brother Craig? What are the dangers of the liberation entertainer?
The liberation entertainer, they're an extension of the agenda of the architects, the engineers, and managers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy racism. They are agent provocateurs. They are entities who can divide legitimate movement. They can create chaos, confusion, conflict. They can create, for example, if you go back to, this was in the 60s, so we're dealing with when Bunchy Carter and John Huggins were murdered at UCLA, and they were representing the Black Panthers in LA, and they got into it with the organization that was spearheaded by the founder of Kwanzaa. And their group, I think, and Brother Naru will be able to correct me on it. I think they were called Us, or I forget the name of their group, but their organization came into conflict with the Black Panthers. And needless to say, 2 individuals ended up getting killed and others got shot. So liberation entertainers can create death. They can put a stop on movements.
Yeah.
Okay, I was correct. So it is Organization Us by Dr. Karanga. And Dr. Karanga is one of these individuals who is a liberation entertainer because he worked for the government. And so it's a very slippery slope as to how these cats play this game, but they can guide thousands, tens of thousands, and millions of people in the wrong direction. And those who have legitimate game plans, they could be left out in the cold, and now no work actually gets done. And that's what's been going on with our people for the past, 5, 6, 7 decades.
Yeah. Okay, so who would your top three? I had this as top five, but I'm not sure if you want to give that minute. But who would your top three liberation entertainers be?
Well, I got to go with what Dr. John Henry Clark said in terms of Minister Farrakhan. Very clever how they create. Minister Farrakhan creates the illusion that they are about the business of Black people. So I would say he is the number one. Then, although his health has been failing, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton would be your top three. Although they're on the older side, they're your top three. If I had to deal with the current liberation entertainers right now in this whole social media world, I would have to say Brother Polight, Umar Johnson, and probably David Banner.
David Banner. Okay.
Yeah, David Banner is doing number playing games. I mean, this is what they do. And so I would probably say they are your top three right now, liberation entertainers.
So what would you say to those persons? Because I'm sure there would be several. Of course, pushing back on Minister Farrakhan being on the list because of his, I've never been to Chicago, but I have heard that they have a lot of, they do a lot of good things in Chicago to move the community forward. Is that not the case?
So I break this thing down logically. If you go to Chicago right now, I mean tonight, not tomorrow or next week, you go to Chicago right now, Minister Farrakhan lives in Hyde Park, which is a majority white inner city community, upscale community in Chicago. There is no such thing as a Nation of Islam community. There is no, there's no Nation of Islam neighborhood. So if your rhetoric is constantly down with the white man, do for self, build your own, I mean, wouldn't you at least have a neighborhood?
Yeah, why don't you have it, right?
Then you hear, well, we got land in Georgia. Okay. There are towns in the on the periphery of Houston and Dallas that have been created since the 60s.
Right.
After the 60s. None of them had any heads of state starting the town. None of them had connections to head of state. None of them had, the founders had a coalition of tens of thousands of members or millions of followers, but they created these towns. Like Cypress, for example, is one of those towns. Cypress has been around, I think, since the 60s, 70s. The Nation of Islam has been in place since the 30s, 20s.
Yeah, the 30s.
Now, what you think about that? They've had hundreds of thousands of members. They have millions of supporters. They've been connected to heads of state. And they brag on land that they have in Georgia. What's the money? Where's the town?
I do not know.
I was in a debate once online with a guy from the Nation. And man, I undressed him so cold-blooded. I showed him an Amish community on the East Coast. They got their own town. They control their own politics on their own land. And they maneuver. They make furniture. They even make the goddamn bean pie and sell it at the Lexington market.
Wow.
Negroes in the Nation of Islam stand on the outside of the Lexington market and panhandle and peddle product, they're on the inside selling the Nation of Islam's product.
Wow.
So because I do this for real, and I can talk about the hypocrisy of all of this, what now happens because of identity, personality, politics,
right,
people are romanticized based on the word.
Mm-hmm.
There's an African proverb that says, be skilled in speech, so you will succeed. The tongue of a man is his sword, and effective speech is stronger than all fighting. So Minister Farrakhan gives great speeches.
That's right.
Phenomenal speeches. He hits on phenomenal topics. A lot of the information is coming from researchers, but they don't tell you that. So it's perceived that Minister Farrakhan knows all of this stuff,
right.
But that's not the case. They have research teams, right? And so they compile the speeches, and then they go in, and he can go into scripture and go into politics and things. So he connects it all, and he romanticizes the ear of the populace, and people fall for it. And I've been observing, analyzing Minister Farrakhan and a lot of these cats since I was a preteen here in Shreveport. And again, no disdain, hateration towards Minister Farrakhan because he's not the only one. This is just a game that is played on our people. One of your other great liberation entertainers, and you can go look at his speeches now, and I suggest people go look at this brother's speeches. Reverend Ike, one of your greatest liberation entertainers, and he did it in such a clever way. And you go back and look at his stuff, man, it's gangster. And so, but this is what this is all about. It's all about rhetoric and talking and getting people to buy in to legitimate subject matter. But at the end of the day, nothing happens because they're all in bed with the architects, engineers, and managers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy.
So the next question was why do we fall prey to these people? But the answer to that would be because of their eloquence of speech, correct?
Well, that's one aspect, but the main reason that our people continue to fall for the okie doke is because they lack spirituality and organic right culture. See, without spirituality, organic right culture, and then education, you can't see through the smoke screen. If you were tapped into your power and you were connected really solidly with the creator and the ancestors, you would be able to see the game.
Right.
But the people can't see the game, so they're connected in their lower nature to what they desire to believe is real, and this is how they end up getting played all the time.
Right, and of course that's part of the problem. We get played constantly by people who speak well, who paint a good picture, have been around for a very long time, and don't everybody on your list haven't really produced anything concrete. For Black people. And again, it ain't personal. It's just the truth. And sometimes that truth can be difficult to deal with. So how is the liberation entertainer different from the melanated bourgeois Negro or the melanated bourgeois, or the melanated pseudo bourgeoisie Negro? How's a liberation entertainer different from those two factions?
Well, typically the liberation entertainer is not a bourgeoisie Negro. Most bourgeoisie Negroes ain't got a goddamn thing to do with promoting liberation.
Okay.
Their focus is promoting coming up in the capitalist system. And I do take my hat off to a lot of the bourgeoisie Negroes because a lot of them have gone on to gain access to certain education, professional skills, certifications. So a lot of them are doing the businesses, they're making moves in terms of politics. So they immerse themselves into the structure, and they can produce tangible reality. Exactly. Mike said, making more black millionaires is their game, and that's absolutely correct.
Right.
They are immersed into the physical reality of the capitalistic system. So they are about creating that physical reality, right? So you can see Reginald Lewis, right? You can see Bob Johnson. You can see John Johnson. You can see Earl Grey.
Right.
You can see who else is out here? Oprah Winfrey, right?
Yeah.
None of these people are talking about no goddamn liberation.
That's right.
Damn sure no revolution. So those entities are about operating within the current system to sell the majority of African descendants on the belief that they can achieve the illusion of the American dream.
Yep.
The liberation entertainer is trying to tell you that we can tear the system down and we can make life different and we can go back to Africa and we can do all of these goddamn things and we can take up arms to take out the cracker.
Yeah.
And we can do all of these things if you would just your money.
Right.
They are pimping the people in really way harder gangster game than the bourgeoisie. Because see, the bourgeoisie is like, okay, Negro need a laundromat, let me give Negroes laundromat, bam. They ain't got nothing to do with no damn liberation and all that.
Right.
Because most of them gonna go to your traditional Christian churches anyway. They're not caught up in trying to say that the black woman is God and all these different concepts that these liberation entertainers are selling to the majority of people who are seeking truth and seeking to come from under the Eurocentric construct. So they are totally different. Now, when you're clever, like Jesse Jackson, okay, and you can straddle that fence between the world of bourgeoisieism and the so-called grassroots, that's rare that you can really do that. And he was pretty much the first to be able to do it because King was not he couldn't pass as a grassroots person because King was straight up bourgeoisie. And but Jesse is pretty much the creme de la creme in terms of that whole concept of being able to straddle the fence on both ends while still being straight up bourgeoisie.
Okay. So is the liberation entertainer more dangerous than the melanated Negro savage?
Yes.
Explain why. Or explain what the melanated Negro savage is, and then tell me why you said yes.
So the melanated Negro savage, these are the people primarily out here causing havoc. The murderers, the shooters, the gang bangers who are dropping bodies left and right, the ratchet. So those individuals there, they've just bought into the belief that can't nothing else happen for them but this world of gangsterism and crime and prostitution and drugs.
Right.
The liberation entertainer, what makes them more dangerous than them, these cats actually study books.
Yep.
Cats put a lot of work into researching and formatting and, getting their YouTube channels together. And,
that's right.
I mean, these cats do a lot of research.
They're putting some time, for sure.
They put in a lot of goddamn time. The Millennial Savage really ain't, trying to get no goddamn millions of folks. They pretty much are in their community. Some of them actually, get to a point of saying, hey, I'm kind of sort of going to be like a Bumpy Johnson, sales open, create some opportunities and make some things happen. But at the end of the day, they really, if they learned a different way of maneuvering, a lot of them you could actually elevate to become soldiers.
That's right.
That liberation entertainer Negro believes he's goddamn smart as hell. And he's about capitalism just in a different way. And it's insidious as to how they go about pimping the people by trying to give them an alternative to the Eurocentric indoctrination through Christianity, through Hinduism, Buddhism, through your traditional religion. They sell the people on this fallacy. And so, yeah, they're way more dangerous because they're corrupting the fertile minds of intelligent young Black folks with straight up bullshit.
And in the thousands, hundreds of thousands plus, which is extremely dangerous. Okay, so would they constitute a new faction of African descent?
And you and I talked about this today, and I probably will have to create a category for this entity, because although it's a small, the only reason I didn't, it's a very small entity, because to be a liberation entertainer, you got to have some damn skills.
No doubt.
I mean, literally, you have to have skills in articulating and presenting in order to manipulate in a negative way, negatively manipulate the human mind to roll with an agenda that is perceived to be in their favor, but it's actually against them. So, yeah, we probably will have to. I just got to think of how I want that term to be, but it's a very small group of them.
Right.
I mean, it's very small. It's not like they come around every so often, every blue moon. There ain't a lot of them.
Okay. So good question. Where would you place Brother Malcolm? What faction?
Malcolm was a melanated hybrid, grassroots hybrid.
A hybrid because
he was learning, because Malcolm truly had the love of the people.
That's right.
He truly wanted to empower us. He just got caught. He didn't know.
Right.
He got caught up in religiosity, and he didn't know. He thought he was a part of something legit that wasn't legit. And how do you get out of something that you helped to create, grow? And I should say this, grow. He didn't have to create it, but he helped to grow it.
Big time.
Expand.
Yep.
You have to grow this criminal enterprise under the premise that it was legitimately a religious organization. So Malcolm loved our people. He's very naive about a lot of things. Once he embraced Islam, a lot of his street sense just goddamn went out the window.
Right.
And you can't never let your street sense, because it's like goddamn Spider-Man, you got spider sense.
That's right. You got to keep that. It comes in handy.
Spider sense.
That's right. So when I asked you the question, who would be your top 3 liberation entertainers, I didn't expect you to mention the first 3 that you mentioned, but it's cool because this next question, I'm interested to hear. Oh yeah, well yeah, I thought you would say Polight, Umar, and Tariq.
Tariq is actually above David Banner.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay. So do you think Minister Farrakhan, J.C. Jackson, Al Sharpton, Brother Polight, Dr. Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, David Banner. You think they are liberation entertainers because of ignorance, or do you think because of ignorance and they really believe that what they think and what they promote is an answer or the answer, or do you think they know that what they're talking about will never work? Because if they're just ignorant, that's a different story.
No, they know.
Okay.
They know. See what the game is, to my end, it's hard for people to comprehend. So let me break it down for you. They know that they are not dedicated and committed to putting in the work to sacrifice their goddamn life, number one. And he said, well, people want to kill Farrakhan. Like, stop. If you ever go to Chicago and you even think about sniffing around the mansion at Farrakhan, trust me, brother. Trust me when I tell you, they got hit.
I'm sure.
For real.
Yeah. Straight
up killing. So then you don't even talk about that. So they know that the layers of this game are there's so many layers to it.
Right.
And they know the shit that they're talking is just rhetoric. But this is how they get paid. So you sell the people on the illusion so the people can, I'll give you a prime example. For years, the government, United States government, was after supposedly Osama bin Laden. Could never find. He just bounced.
Right.
So we got to have more money. We got to get it. And year after year, could never find it. Most of our people never did the research to find out that Osama bin Laden's family and the Bush family and other Republicans and Democrats were all in business together in the United States.
Yeah, I knew they flew their family out of the country at 9/11. Yeah.
They had a company called the Carlyle Group.
That's right. So,
what I'm saying to you, Tumani, this game is smoke and mirrors. It's a chess game. And everybody, the majority of people in the world don't know that they're actually in a game.
That's right.
So the people who are on the board, when you see them maneuvering the way that they maneuver, hell yeah, they know. It's like they're not ignorant to this thing.
Right.
Al Sharpton, go back and look at his interview. Al Sharpton was working with the goddamn FBI.
That's right.
His informant. Melania Karanga was goddamn FBI informant.
Right.
Okay, this is factual. And so that's why when you go and if you go and read the book, The Assassination of Malcolm X, and you go to the back of it,
that's right,
and you see the FBI documents, that's why so many of the goddamn names are redacted.
Right. They got family.
They done blocked them out.
That's right.
Because they don't want your ass to know how many people and who was on the payroll. Right. Because guess what? They had children. They got grandchildren. And guess what? They recruit them in the game. So do they know? Hell yeah, they goddamn know. Hell yeah, they know. And at a particular point, I mean, we're talking about basically a indirect mafia, so to speak.
Right.
So they in so damn deep there, you can't get out.
Right. Okay. All right. So if you missed the beginning of the show, you're listening to the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. Tonight's show is our 49th episode and is titled The Fall and Destruction of Liberation Entertainers. My name is Tamani M. Wandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, the National Director of our political strategy and implementation department. So, Brother Craig, of your top 3 liberation entertainers, and again, I didn't expect you to give me the first 3 that you gave me. I didn't think you were gonna go back that far. So you can do,
because they're still relevant.
yeah.
Because they're your national, international entities, and Umar, Polight, and Tariq
and David Banner, yeah.
They just aspire to supplant them.
To be so, and that kind of makes this next question interesting. But the title of the show is the fall and destruction of. So I don't know if you would consider Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton as 3 people who have risen and been destroyed because they're still here. So would you consider them?
They're being exposed, though.
Okay.
They're being exposed.
Okay.
So for all the anti-white rhetoric that Mr. Farrakhan preaches, his goddamn son married a goddamn cracker. You go to the internet, pull it up. Yeah. Farrakhan's up there with his mixed grandchild. Farrakhan's son has died. Look. The creator is exposing these individuals. Jesse Jackson, he's been exposed for his hypocrisy. Sharpton has been exposed. They're not going to totally fall because they are tied to the government. They work for the government. That's the only reason that they ain't never been assassinated.
Right. Yeah.
That they work for the goddamn people. Right? Yeah. So those particular individuals, they're still here, but they've been exposed.
Right.
So the destruction is there for anybody who wants to do just a little research. You can see how the creator's exposing them.
Okay.
Now, as it relates to these guys, Umar, Tariq, Young Pharaoh, now Polight, they're being exposed, but they're not, although Polight is trying his best to immerse himself into the bosom of Hollywood and that Eurocentric clique, those cats are not connected to the bourgeoisie establishment. If you, I asked you if you had looked at the most recent episode of Godfather of Harlem. When you go and look at that tonight, you're gonna now look back at this program that this episode, and you're gonna be like, damn, that damn Craig cold blooded. Because in this episode, Bumpy Johnson is now buying some leverage by buying into a secret society in New York.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Now, why is he doing it? Because this secret society in New York has Negroes who judge.
That's right.
You know, work for the bank.
Politics.
So he's a street dude. He ain't went to no goddamn Xavier, no Howard, no Ivy League school. But guess what he got?
The ability to think, ideas, intellect.
What he got? Money, status,
materialism. Okay. All right.
Because he can think, guess what he knows that those Negroes want?
Money, status, and materialism?
Exactly.
They're the same thing.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now let me go get leverage. But now, when you see this episode, you're going to see how gangster the Negro bourgeoisie is, because he's used to paying a 6% fee on laundering his money. The Negroes say, because you so hot, Bumpy, it's going to be 12%. So now, follow me now. Guess what they do for him? They're going to protect him now. But guess what they do for him that year? They make him man of the year of their fraternal order. because he gave him about 500,000.
That's right. So, but money talks.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that organization is a metaphor for who? The Boule.
Yeah. I would think the Masons, but yeah.
Well, the Boule is an extension of the Masonic order.
Okay.
But Boule is a French term that means messenger to the king. And who helped to start the Boule? W.E.B. Du Bois. That's the whole talented 10th game. So when I talk about the bourgeoisie, brother, I'm not talking about that's like casually talking to, hey, bro, they got a philosophy, a code. They stand on a particular square, and they mean that.
Right.
So they protect each other in this game through the judicial system, through the legal component, through the executive branch of government, through the legislative branch of government. And see, we ain't in the game, so we don't understand.
Right.
So now we got punk ass liberation entertainers come up talking all this jip jab that they gonna, man, we can just detach. We can just claim our sovereignty. We can just go back to Africa. Take your punk ass.
Yeah. All those pseudo solutions. Yep.
You ain't doing nothing but lying to these people.
Right. And what you just said, Brother Craig, what you just said goes back to the fact that this is a team sport. If you ain't got no squad, you ain't gonna make it.
Hey, bro, watch. When you watch that latest Godfather of Harlem, bro, they put it right in your face, bro.
Cool. All right. So I would assume that you would the specific strength of the liberation entertainer is his or her ability to speak well, to communicate, got some charisma. They deliver a good message. They paint a good picture, a good vision. Okay. So what do you attribute to their fall or destruction? Is the truth about who they actually are coming out? That is what you would attribute to their fall and destruction, or would you say it's something else?
What everything. I want everybody to hear me on this call, including you. Everything, positive or negative, in this world that we're in, connected, rooted in either you having spirituality, organic right culture, and education, or you not having spirituality, organic right culture, and education. What do I mean? If you are operating like you're intelligent, but you're operating outside of spirituality, organic right culture, now what's going to happen, that doesn't mean you can't be intelligent. That don't mean you can't become a millionaire, billionaire. But what it means, whatever your agenda is, liberation entertainer, straight up capitalist, bourgeoisie, what the creator is going to do is step back from you and allow you to believe that you really are the master of the goddamn universe. And now, guess what's going to happen to your punk ass? You're going to self-destruct and burn. This is where the concept of a reprobated mind comes from. This is where the concept of being double-minded comes from. Because you're going to be paranoid. You ain't going to know who to trust. So you have to be in harmony with the creator and the righteous ancestors to be able to navigate. So that liberation entertainer that you just talked about, their destruction comes from the lack of spirituality and right culture, organic culture. Because if you truly were connected to the creator and the righteous ancestors, there's no goddamn way in the world that you would be doing what the hell you're doing. For goddamn show, even being in a room with a goddamn 14-year-old girl.
That's right.
Even if you didn't rape the goddamn girl, you wouldn't be in a position like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Only individuals who believe that they are so superior because they know how dumb the majority of people are. And Polight knows that he can romanticize the ear of a large group of people, and he knows that he has people who are so indoctrinated through his identity politics with him, through his personality, that he will always have some supporters and followers, just like his punk ass mentor, Malachi Z. York, who still got people trying to help his punk ass get out of jail. And what's so funny about his ass, he used to say he was an alien, he was from the planet Riz, and ain't no that. I'm like, well, goddamn, why they ain't beam your ass up like they did Captain Kirk, goddammit? Why they ain't beam you up like they did Spock? Why is your punk ass in a jail for 135 years in the United States? Why you now, I'm gonna sue the United States for $2 billion? Well, that shit was in 2018. Your punk ass is still in jail. Can hold your punk ass, and I guess the damn alien spaceship ain't come get your punk ass.
Okay, Brother Mike, I'll ask that question at the end. Did you by any chance hear this shit? Excuse my friend. This just blew me away when I heard Polight say this. He said that if it was proven beyond the shadow of any doubt, DNA evidence, it was there that Dr. York raped, molested hundreds of kids.
Yeah.
He said he would still consider him to be his God.
Exactly. But that's the identity.
Man, that is crazy. That is sick.
Look, bro, what? So see, it's crazy to you, but look at what he's saying. See, you're not really analyzing what he's saying.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I think you're gonna say that he's saying that so that his people will always follow and support him.
Yeah, because he's doing the same thing. Hell yeah.
Man,
feather flock together.
That's right. Yeah, and that's why we're gonna have to have those Bumpy Johnson booth conversations, because I'll be damned. All right. So next question. We believe that percentages of the 6 factions of African descendants can be reached and saved. Do we think the Liberation Entertainer can be also reached and saved?
Hard to say, they punk ass.
Unless you catch them at an early age, right?
Well, if you caught them at an early age, there wouldn't be no Liberation Entertainer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But once they have, like, look at what this dude said. You heard the interview. This Negro say he wrote 90 goddamn books.
A lot of books.
Now let's think about it.
I would say my first thought was how many pages each one got. Pamphlets.
Now let's think about it. He's 37, 38 years old. If you legitimately wrote one book, and you launched it in January of a particular year, you got to have time to promote the book, sell the goddamn book. And now, through the promotion and selling the book, you start to work on the next book for the next year to come out in January. The likelihood that you're going to be able to, that don't even go with any kind of marketing logic that you would bring out. Like Naru is on the goddamn call. Naru, would you launch 15 albums in the same goddamn year? Or 5 albums in the same day? The people be like, damn, what?
Too much, slow down. Naru said no.
So that right there tells you this dude, he's a narcissist, right? So the game that they're playing, and I got this term, the term comes from Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, because he plays in the same game.
That's right.
The term is called intellectual capitalism. But I attach the word pseudo to it because although these cats are intelligent, they are doing pseudo intellectual capitalism because their whole agenda is to sell information through books, CDs, speaking events,
Right.
goddamn hip hop goddamn debate that ain't talking about nothing but some bullshit.
Yep.
And so they are pimping the people who want to learn, who claim to be spiritual or claim to be culturally astute or aware. They're trying to extrapolate their dollars through this industry of intellectual capitalism or pseudo intellectual capitalism. So at the end of the day, that's where Polight and these cats are really at.
Right.
And shit, you know damn well you ain't wrote no damn 90 books legitimately. Now if it's like 4 pages, okay, if you say that's a book,
Yeah,
like, you know, come on, man.
right. But
Like,
you know, if you have as many followers as Polight has, you know, you can write 30, 40 page book and 100,000, 200,000 people buy it for $10. You know,
and then on top of it, the money, if you understand, you know, the concept of coming up with thought, unless you are doing a lot of pleasurizing and just regurgitating.
Oh, sure. It is not original. No doubt. No doubt.
There's no way it can be original.
Right.
You see?
Yep.
But because that's what Malachi York was doing. He was reading books that he knows, obscure books that nobody would ever read. And then he brings information back as if it's his own intellectual creation, but it wasn't.
Right. Okay. So that answer is a perfect segue to the next question, which is how can Black people protect themselves from the liberation entertainer? How can we see these people coming a mile away?
You have to embrace the 6 pillars of empowerment. Spirituality, organic right culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, and politics. You have to pray to the Creator that you can establish a relationship with the Creator and have your third eye activated, unlocked, unleashed, and activated, so that this spiritual power is now fully engaged with you, because it becomes your armor as well as your power, but your armor to protect you from these predators, because these cats are predators for real.
Oh, no doubt.
They not only want your money, like Polight goes around talking all this foolishness that the Black woman is God. He's doing all of that simply to get money from the Negro female and sex from the Negro female. It's nothing but a hustle. So yeah, those 6 pillars of empowerment, that's how you now protect yourself, because the Creator now heightens your natural senses to be able to see the phonies. And then, as I always say, the appropriate way of vetting these punk ass people is resume, references, and receipts.
Right.
Resume, references, and receipts. And that clip that you're talking about, he was talking about Malachi York to a cat who was one of the people who was there on the property, who knows that the dude was raping little boys, little girls, taking husbands, wives, and having them and all this foolishness, giving them herpes and whatnot. So that's when the fool tries to come up with this, let's just say, everything you're saying is true. And he raped everybody. He would still be my God. Man.
What kind of God is that? That is great. And you know what? I'm thinking about the simplicity of resume, references, and receipts. And even that isn't enough, which is why, the 6 pillars are so important, because people like Umar, it's been proven he ain't got no resume, references, and receipts, but people still follow, they still give him money.
And because the rhetoric of the liberation entertainer, is that, and the people, most of these folks, man, I love my people, but even if they got a goddamn degree, most of these people, man, comprehension level of these subject matters, fifth grade, 5th grade, 9th grade level, man. And these people know this.
Right, and they use it, which is why they're so dangerous.
They use it against
Yeah,
them, right?
yeah. All right, brother. On the dot, 10 o'clock. Last question.
I think Mike.
No, last question for you.
Okay.
You get one takeaway from tonight's show that everybody will have with them for the rest of their lives. So if you can make sure that everybody keeps at least one takeaway from this show for the rest of their lives, what would that one takeaway be?
Embrace the 6 pillars of empowerment: spirituality, organic right culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, politics, and learn how to vet properly, whether it be your somebody that you want to potentially marry, somebody you want to go into business with, and especially these punk ass liberation entertainers, resume, references, and receipts. If you do those 2 things, 6 pillars of empowerment, resume, references, and receipts, you can't go wrong, because you're rolling with the creator, the ancestors, and now your third eye is keen to the bullshit.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we're going to open it up for questions. Brother Mike has already asked one. He says, what about Black political prisoners? Are they legit?
Yeah, some of them are. Some of the cats who are incarcerated, they were foot soldiers in the Panthers, and they weren't the drum majors. They weren't the folks out in front. Like you take Here P, that's my homeboy. Love him. But Here P became a goddamn liberation entertainer.
Yep.
He was running game. He was on drugs. I mean, he pimped his own goddamn, he pimped Elaine Bryant out for white folks to give him money from Hollywood. This is real.
Yep.
Okay? He became a liberation entertainer, but the people who are political prisoners, who are there, most of them, they're legit. And it's unfortunate, but, a lot of them going to be locked up until, those who are legitimate grassroots advocates take up their cases to try to help them get out of prison.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so does anyone else have Brother Naru has turned his camera on, so I guess he's ready to ask his question. Brother Naru?
Peace. Brother Craig, I just wanted to know, why do you think so many of these, what you call liberation entertainers, are turning into pedophiles? I mean, that what's the correlation between that? Do you believe that they think they're above everything? This is just so sick to me that I just don't understand it. So I just wanted your viewpoint on that.
Tell you what I'm looking at with this, because that's a very good question, because a lot of them are rolling like that. I think it's twofold. I think some of them have gotten into some of the dark magic from the continent, where in these secret societies, some of this was going on, and youth are considered to be a source of remaining young and embracing their spirit, embracing their bodies. I think a lot of it comes into that. Also, a lot of these cats are, when they start making money, they're connected to these white secret societies, sex clubs, and then they become enamored with how these white folks are rolling, which youth are a part of that overall dynamic. And then lastly, I believe that, like I said, the creator will just allow you to get to a particular level and just step back and just allow you to self-destruct. And what these individuals see, whether it's like R. Kelly, any of these cats, they end up self-destructing, but they lack the spirituality to now balance them, because when you have spirituality, it balances you from going into these particular realms. Even if your mind said, hey man, smoke that crack. Spirituality now say, hey man, that ain't good for you. Like you can see some of these young girls are fine as hell. You can see it. But spirituality now says, hey man.
As a child. Yeah.
No, that's off limits.
Yeah.
But if you don't have spirituality, and now you got money, status, materialism, and you believe you're smarter than every goddamn body else. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Little boys, little girls. I mean, this thing here is devastating, brother.
Yeah.
This thing is devastating.
Yeah, which really heightens our the importance of who and what we are, because we have to, of course, not only offer our people a righteous alternative, but some of these people got to go, man. Just plain and simple, they're just evil. Seriously, they're just evil.
Like somebody when you hear Umar Johnson, Nauru, Umar Johnson announces himself as the goddamn prince of Pan-Africanism.
That's right.
Like this some kind of boxing match, and like, you know, he Razor Ruddock, or, you know, the Grand Chief, and, you know, I'm the prince of Pan-African. What the hell does that mean?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, he think because he related, you know, to Garvey and stuff, he think he's some type of royalty or something. That's what he claims anyway.
Well, related to
I mean,
Douglas.
Douglas. I mean,
yeah, but the family said he ain't in our tree. The family said he ain't related.
But he's a relative based on what he's saying, but he's not a descendant.
He's a kinsman, right? Not descendant, kinsman.
But he's not a descendant, meaning coming under that tree. But yeah, I mean, he like Frederick Douglass was no goddamn liberation advocate. I mean, he wasn't Frederick Douglass sold out. He married to a white chick, his second wife. So shit ain't like Nauru. I was in Dallas when I first met Umar, and he didn't know who I was. He didn't know that I knew everything he was saying was some bullshit. I had just met with Jeffrey Canada, the brother who was over the Harlem Children's Zone, and Jeffrey Canada, he had come to Shreveport, and Jeffrey Canada was talking about how their budget was like $30 million without dormitories, without a goddamn shooting range, without a goddamn military planes and all this old bullshit that Umar Johnson was talking. So he had talked all this foolishness. And so I raised my hand and said, look, man, how are you going to raise the money to pay for this and sustain this? And where is this goddamn school going to be? Now, mind you, Nauru, this is in 2013. It's 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This dude had been talking about the goddamn school for like 10 years at that time. Wow. Now, so he says, I just need 5 minutes on Oprah Winfrey. And I'm looking, I'm like, what the hell? I said, can you elaborate? He said, if I get on Oprah Winfrey for 5 minutes, I had a white people eating out of my hand and they'll give me all the money I need. Now, Nauru, I had asked him during the lecture, because he kept on talking about a private school. I said, why wouldn't you focus on a charter school versus a private school? Because the majority of poor people
can't pay for no private school. Right.
Can't afford it. Yeah. That's it now, Ruth. Can't afford it.
That's real.
Say, well, goddamn it, they pay for them hair, they weaves, they pay for all that. They pay for the goddamn school. I say, God damn. So, and then he said he didn't want the government telling him what to do, so he didn't want the government money. So he wanted private sector money from white folks. This was his game. This is Pan-Africanism now. Okay? Pan-Africanism.
But so, the whole time, Craig, he ain't teaching no kids nothing.
Exactly.
The whole time. He ain't still open no small program, nothing to build on, nothing.
And that's what is liberation entertainment. That is what is pseudo intellectual capitalism. He just going around the goddamn world talking about a theory. Now, Tariq, I got to give it to him. He had a better hustle because all he had to do was do what? Make a pseudo documentary and put some information that Negroes didn't know on video. And at least he delivered what he said.
At least he got a product. Yeah, at least, and a good product. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can't fault him for that, but we know he's full of shit as well. But when you start talking about a goddamn school, and look, Naru, when I asked him, I said, well, where's the goddamn school gonna be? He said, I don't know yet. And he was saying it was gonna open in 2014. So again, he didn't know that I'm in politics. I deal with these school issues. So it's like, dude, that can't happen. And that was in 2013. And I'm like, this dude has been playing this game for years and ain't did a goddamn thing. And Negroes still follow that foolishness because he will hit on and go to talk about issues that are relevant, that are important to our people, and he knows how to articulate, right?
Yep.
And that's just the game, man. And so it just becomes a rhetoric game, and all of us play it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't got no love for dude. I mean, what's the young brother that was on Roland Martin we was talking about a while back? He doing something for real, man.
Yeah,
He really doing stuff with the kid. That's who I'm messing with right there.
Exactly.
Is King Randall or something like what's
King Randall, that's it. King Randall, yeah.
That young brother really doing it, man.
Right.
And King Randall is proof positive that Umar is full of shit.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up.
That's right. That's right.
He ain't never had the money that Umar had. Like, stop with this, man. Stop playing these games, bro.
Right.
I had a dude, he started a school in New Orleans, private school, out of his apartment, right? So it's like, stop, man, stop. Marva Collins had already started a school with less money. Stop, brother, stop.
Right. All right, so does anybody else have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we close this thing out? Anybody else? Question or comments going once, going twice. All right, I would like to, before I give Brother Craig his closing comments, I want to acknowledge Sister Devosha Lane. She is our newest member in the Black Gold Nation, and she's also a candidate, our first candidate for the Spirituality Department division. So welcome, Sister Devosha. And she's also on the review committee that we're going over the spirituality part of the body of knowledge. So awesome, sister.
Devosha, did I run you away? I hope I didn't scare you, Devosha.
No, peace and light, y'all. Let me tell you, I live for this. I live to hear the intellectual gangster go in, because when you be speaking, it's like, oh my God, somebody had to say it. And so when you're putting it out there, it's very relevant and it's important for us in order to grow. But it is one thing that I did want to just quickly comment on.
Yeah.
The people you spoke of, our new generation, this YouTube virtual media platform, they don't know of these people. Now, there are some people that you did mention that they do know of, but I was wondering, who do you think is reaching this Instagram, TikTok generation and fit that mold? I did have one person in mind, but I don't know if you're familiar with Rizza Islam.
Yeah, Rizza, he's full of shit.
Right.
Yeah, he running his game through Church of Scientology. He's the one that was able to influence Farrakhan to get the goddamn Nation of Islam to start going through. It's the craziest thing I ever seen. Get them to start to go through Dianetics. Young Pharaoh had been the young cat because he's in his 20s, but he messed up as well. But yeah, those would be two of the ones. But see, Rizza got caught up, and he and his family got arrested, and because they've been running this hustle with Church of Scientology for a minute.
I didn't know that.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, then he jumped into the Nation of Islam. See, that's how that works. See, he ain't been in the nation for a long time. So he got into the nation, and then he influenced the nation, and then Farrakhan told all members of the nation that they needed to go through Dianetics and do Dianetics. It's the crazy thing. Yeah, Farrakhan is tied to all of it. And that's why I say this is a diabolical game that they're playing, and we gotta have our people to understand that spirituality and religiosity are two different things.
That's
Two
right.
different things.
And
That's
spirituality is inside of you. And if you can unlock it, unleash it, and activate it, it serves as your power and your protection.
Yes.
But if you don't ever activate it, hey man, you walking through, hey, it's like you walking through without any kind of protection whatsoever. And you gonna get dealt with out here, bro, because they got predators out here for real.
That's right. So Brother Trayvon has a question. Brother, you want to turn your mic on and ask? There you go.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Brother Craig?
What's happening, brother?
All right, good, man. Thank you for the conversation. Naru invited me to come, and I appreciate him for that because everything he said it was gonna be. So good. This is my this is actually my second meeting out of what y'all like on 49 right now. You said 49?
Yeah, I heard you last week. I love your comments.
That's right. It's the PE teacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I remember.
yeah. So my question is, since this is only my second episode, you mentioned those 6 things. Where can I get some information on that? The 6 pillars.
Yeah,
you said?
go to our YouTube channel. Just type in Black Gold Nation. You'll see our logo pop up, and watch episode 1, 2, and 3. Those will give you information on all 6 factions. But of course, we talk about them throughout. So as your schedule permits, brother, start from 1 and catch up because it's all in there.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
Are you talking about the 6 factions, or are you talking about the 6 pillars of empowerment?
The ones that you said that we need the 2 things. You said we need the 6 pillars and the the other.
Okay, so give me your email address and I'll send them to you.
Okay.
Hey, Craig, I got him.
You all right?
Yeah, I got him.
Okay, good job.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, and Trayvon, that's a very good question. And let me tell you something. When I left corporate America in June of 1995, I got back to Shreveport in 94 as a pharmaceutical sales rep. And so when I left corporate, the Creator had, pretty much directed me to stay in here in Shreveport. I was ready to go back to ATL. And there was a murder that kept me here. So this young cat I was like a big brother to growing up, he murdered a cat. And I'm like, damn, how did Grover, kill this cat? And so that's the first time that I said, why are these brothers and sisters committing these heinous offenses in the city of Shreveport? And that's when I looked around, and the Creator said, look around and tell me, what don't you see in the neighborhoods that you grew up in? And it just hit me. I don't see no spirituality. I don't see no culture. I don't see no education. I don't see no economics. I don't see no, at the time I was calling it, no social cohesion and no politics. And it was at that moment the Creator said, I raised you in these streets here in the city of Shreveport, got your education, took you to Xavier University for you to be cultivated there, took you into corporate America, Atlanta, Birmingham, Boston, Nashville, exposed you to all this stuff, not for you to stay in those cities, but for you to come back and help liberate these crazy ass Negroes who are your relatives and classmates and whatnot in Shreveport, Louisiana, in order to create this prototype. And so that's how the 6 pillars came into play. And so when you think about it as an individual or as a collective in the group, without that power, that spirituality, and I got to thank Tamani, because I've been teaching my MOVE workshop since 1995, so 26 years. It wasn't until last year that Tamani was like, hey man, we got to get your damn definitions on paper. And so I was forced to now go ahead and write the definitions down for spirituality, organic right culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, and politics. So when you get this information, it's coming straight from the Creator and the righteous ancestors through me. I did not take anybody's ideas or concepts. These are things that came to me over the past 36 years of being on this path. Now the resume, references, and receipts, I don't know the brother's name, but he's out of New York. And I sent Tamani this video. He did such a powerful video about vetting and breaking down individuals. And man, that dude hit. He said, these are the 3 things that you need to break people down. And it's like, I already knew him, but I never put it together in like a video. And he said it so smooth: resume, references, and receipts. And I said, God damn, that's cold. And so when you can connect that with the 6 pillars of empowerment, you're now connected with the creator and the righteous ancestors. And now your mind is now easily connecting the dots. Okay, let me see their resume. Okay, and everybody can write anything on a resume. But now let me see the references that you provide to your resume. And now let me see the receipt, because that's going to be the work that verifies what you're saying in your resume, right? And then within that dynamic, we can avoid getting played and pimped in this overall.
Bamboozled.
I was thinking the same word, Devotion. I was the same exact word, bamboozle.
Bamboozled.
Bamboozle, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
anybody else got a
Appreciate
question or
that.
comment for Brother Craig? You good, Trayvon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Solid.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming back, brother. Don't make this your last time. Keep coming.
And
Yes,
please,
I do.
please email me. I'm sorry, please email me that list as well. I want
Okay.
that information. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and one last thing for everybody, especially Trayvon and Devotion, as you all asked. One thing that I didn't Tamani put, and I learned this in the 9th grade. My teacher, Miss Hattie Wade, and it stuck with me all these damn years, because it was no lie. It was one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned from any teacher. And she taught us American government. And she said in the 9th grade, when I was 14 years old, she said, always to get to the bottom of anything, use the WH formula. The WH formula. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you ask yourself who, what, when, where, why, and how, you connect that to those 3 R's: resume, references, and receipt. And you are standing on the square of those 6 pillars of empowerment. You've eliminated, I mean, for real, getting pimped and played and bamboozled and hoodwinked. And so I'll make sure that I put those there, because it just dawned on me as we are looking at that.
Cool. All right. So with that, we're going to close this thing out. Brother Craig, you have any closing comments for everybody?
I just want to thank everybody for participating. I've done a lot of the hard lifting over these past 26 years in Shreveport, 36 years being on this enlightened path. I've been baptized in a lot of the gameplay so that our people won't have to do this, because I've seen how these people will break good people. And I'll leave you with one thing. The reason that evil flourished, well, I'm gonna ask the question, and then I'll see who knows the answer. Tamani, you may have remembered it, but I don't want you to answer. But the question is, why does evil flourish in the world?
I would say because the good people or the righteous people sit by and do nothing.
Woo! Woo! Okay. Anybody else? Devotion knocked it out the park, and Devotion, you're right. But let me put it from the street level. Good people are punks.
Well,
good people are punks, and they do exactly what you just said. The majority of the world are comprised of good people. The majority of individuals in the world are good people. But devotion, they pump. They live in fear, or they exist in fear, I should say, because they ain't living. They exist in fear. They're afraid to speak up for losing whatever little trinkets they got. They damn sure scared of dying. Okay? And so Peter Tosh has this song, everybody want to go to heaven, but none of them want to die. Follower of Jesus. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but none of them want to die. And Peter Tosh said, I don't want no peace. I want equal rights and justice. Well, guess what? Ain't nobody giving you a goddamn thing. You got to fight. You got to fight. And you got to be willing. I will give this to Martin Luther King. Because when I left corporate America, he said the following: if a man is not willing to die for something, he ain't fit to live. And so you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to die for? And I made up my mind in 1995 that I was willing to die for the same thing that our ancestors, the great freedom fighters who preceded me, and some of them were my direct relatives, I was willing to die for the liberation, freedom, empowerment, and advancement of African people throughout the entire world.
All right, well, amen. So on that note,
wait. We can't go yet.
Okay, come on now.
It's one thing to be willing to die for it, bro, but the main important thing is that you willing to live for it.
Yeah, well, let me show you something, Brother Nuru. In order to be willing to live, you got to be willing to die. See, that's the whole concept. See, the premise, like some people believe a lot of people are afraid of success because they're scared of failure. No, they're not. They're afraid of success because if they achieve it, now you got accountability and responsibility. But in order to succeed, guess what you must be willing to do?
Fail many times.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same concept. In order to live, you got to be willing to die.
That's right.
Because if you're not willing to die, your ass ain't gonna never live. So in order to succeed, you got to first fail. In order to live, you got to be willing to die. And so when you embrace that goddamn willingness to die, guess what? Ain't gonna be no fucking fear. So nobody's gonna put you into bondage. So now you can goddamn live.
Yes, sir. That's what I want to hear right there.
Yes, sir.
And on that note, always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation, the empowerment, and the freedom of Black people. So thank you guys very much for being here. God bless. Let somebody know about the show, and we'll see y'all next Thursday.
Yeah.
Peace, y'all. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.